Hi there, everybody. This is Mark Plunkett, the pastor of Heritage Presbyterian Church, and this is our weekly devotional for the week of February the 21st, President's Day, 2022. I want to tell you a story that comes from the book of Genesis. Now, there's all kinds of stories in the book of Genesis. This one happens to be about Abraham. One day, Abraham is sitting under some trees in the heat of the day inside his tent, right at the entrance. And this is what it says. Abraham looked up and saw three men standing nearby. When he saw them, he hurried from the entrance of the tent to meet them, and he bowed down low to the ground. And basically what happened was he said, gentlemen, if I have found favor in your eyes, come over here and relax. Let me wash your feet. Let me get you something cool to drink. And he got his servants going, and they prepared a meal for these three men. Now, Abraham did not know these three men were angels. They did not have, the full wings behind them, It didn't have angel across their shirt or anything like that. He did not know. They were unidentified angels. And so he insisted on taking care of them, as was the custom in the Middle East. But Abraham took that custom to the nth power, to the highest level he could. He was the perfect host for these three men, all right? When he had finished taking care of them, the men told him that they were going to come back next year, and when they did, Sarah would be with child. Well, Abraham and Sarah were old. Sarah was way past the age of being able to get pregnant and have a child. And Abraham didn't really believe them. And Sarah, hiding behind in the tent, was chuckling to herself, thinking, that's funny, And they said, oh, yes, next year you will have a child. And of course, that child turned out to be Isaac. The other thing that happened was they warned Abraham to tell his brother Lot, get out of Sodom and Gomorrah, they're going to be destroyed. So because Abraham had been polite and friendly and really, really hospitable to these three men, not knowing they were angels, he was rewarded for it. It makes me think of people in our lives, maybe they aren't really angels, but we don't really know sometimes. But one thing I know for sure is that we get unexpected blessings from these people sometimes. Let me tell you about the funniest one that ever happened to me. I was in college, and I was working at this bookstore behind this candy counter. That's where I worked for about 5 years while I was in college. And there was this guy working in the department. I wish I can remember his name. I'm just going to call him Barry. All right, just because that's just a name I think might have been his. And he was a funny guy. He was the original hippy-dippy guy. Hey, Mark, what's going on, man? Whenever he talked like that. And when we taught him how to, work on the register, he'd nod his head and he'd go, yeah, I think I got it, man. And he didn't need a lot of help. He was actually pretty sharp, but he never moved fast. And he always took his time. He was always friendly with the customers and everything. They would tell him what they wanted, and he'd go, okay, man, and then he would get the candy or the cigarettes or the magazines or whatever, and he'd bring them up. Thanks, man, have a good day. It's like his favorite word was man, and nobody took him seriously. He was a nice guy. He really was. He was a nice guy, but we just didn't take him seriously. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, one time I hurt my back, and I don't remember how I did it, but it went on for about a week, and I was in worse and worse and worse pain every day. I went to the doctor. They gave me muscle relaxants. It didn't work. I tried sleeping on heating pads. I tried all kinds of things. I got to the point where I could barely touch my knees. Putting my shoes on was almost impossible. I had to have one of my housemates put my shoes on for me. If I dropped anything on the floor, I just left it on the floor. And my boss was real nice to me. He did not make me do anything real hard other than stand at the counter because that's about all I could do. And after a week of this, I was in agony. I didn't know what I was going to do. So anyway, I come in one morning, and Barry and I are behind the counter. It's just the two of us, And so this is the first time Barry had worked with me all week, and he goes, hey, Mark, I noticed you're not moving real well, man. Are you okay? And so I told him what was going on. I said, oh, my back hurts. It's been, how long has it been hurting? I said, oh, about more than a week. I said, I'm going crazy. I said, I just don't know what to do. And so he went, why don't you go bowling? I started laughing. I said, bowling? I said, Barry, I can't even touch my knees. How on earth would I get a ball down to the floor? He said, well, it could be that your back, your back's just, the muscles are just tight, You went to the doctor, right? And he told you it's not a bone, it's something with the muscles, right? And I said, well, yeah, he did. Well, then you need to stretch them out, man. So why don't you go bowling? Give it a try. It might work. And I just laughed about it. Like I said, we didn't take this guy very seriously. Well, the next day was my day off. And I didn't have anything else to do. And I was lying around just feeling miserable. And so I thought, what have I got to lose, So I got my bowling ball and went to the bowling alley. Had a real hard time getting my shoes on. But I remember I told the guy at the alley, I said, put me down away from everybody. I said, I'm not sure I'm going to be very good at this today. He said, sure. So he puts me all the way down at the end, far away from everybody. So I'm sitting there with this bowling ball, and I'm feeling like the world's greatest fool. And I'm thinking, God, this is a waste of money. I'm hurting all over. So I tried it. And the first time when I dropped the ball, I dropped the ball. I remember it hit the floor, and it rolled. It made a lot of noise, and I'm like going, I don't know about this, And the second time, same kind of thing, Then I get to the third time, and I noticed I was able to get down a little bit lower. And then a little bit lower. And then by about the fourth time I threw the ball, I was bowling like you're supposed to bowl. You bend your knees and you bend over and you let the ball go. And by about I'd thrown about 10 or 12 balls or so, and the pain was gone. And so I just kept going. I bowled about 2 or 3 games. I was practically laughing. By the way, I bowled the best score I've ever gotten in my life, 169, which for those of you may not be great, but for me it was fantastic. And so afterwards I could lean over, I could put my shoes on, and take these off that I was wearing. And I went back home, and I woke up the next day. I was fine. And so I went to work, and I went and found Barry, and I said, Barry, I said, look at this. I leaned over and I touched my toes, and I came back up. I took your advice, man. And I said, man, I took your advice, man. I went bowling yesterday, and it worked. My back doesn't hurt at all. And he goes, yeah, I thought that might help, man. I'm glad you're feeling better. That's great. I said, thank you so much. And I've thought about that guy ever since then. Hidden angels. Could they have looked like, like this hippie stoner guy, this happy guy that I worked with that nobody took seriously? Could it have been that underneath all of his goofy stuff, he had a heart of gold and he was just trying to help me? Who knows? All I know is my back quit hurting because I took Barry's advice. Amen.